Last part, we fled a Federation prison with the female changeling and former leader of the Dominion in the Alpha Quadrant during the Dominion War. Unfortunately, we also came under attack from rogue Jem'Hadar, and notably the USS Belfast was also destroyed to cover our escape. Now we're hightailing it across the galaxy at ludicrous speeds to Deep Space Nine so that the Founder can order her forces home, something Loris, the Vorta in charge, is unable to do until asked to by one of her gods. Our goal is to rendezvous with the Dominion ship near Deep Space Nine and make sure that the Founder holds up her end of the bargain. Captain Kurland, overseer of Deep Space Nine, will be joining us for this mission, and theoretically it should go smoothly. But Karakan, the first of Loris's Jem'Hadar, has already proven to act irrationally, or perhaps perfectly rationally for him. On being rejected by the Founder, he seems to have leaned heavily into the philosophy that victory is life, and only in combat can he retain some semblance of honour after being shunned by his perceived gods. So, like I said, on paper things should go well, but we're in space, not paper. That sounded less dumb in my head.
Now that we have the aid of one of the Founders, we should have no trouble convincing the Jem'Hadar at Deep Space Nine to stand down and return to the Gamma Quadrant. Starfleet and the Klingon Empire are assembling a unified fleet to garrison the station and repair the damage from the battle. We want you to go with the Founder to negotiate the surrender of the remaining Jem'Hadar. Rendezvous with the Jem'Hadar ship near Deep Space Nine. You'll represent the interests of the Alpha Quadrant, but this should be a simple formality. Captain Kurland is headed to Deep Space Nine in the Defiant, along with the rest of the task force. He said to tell you he's looking forward to seeing you on board the station again.
Alright, so far so good. There's been nothing to impede our progress, and we're able to beam over to the ship of Wayun 10 to meet with him and the Changeling. In contrast to a Federation bridge, which is undeniably in part designed to make an impression, a Dominion vessel is rather barren. There are minimal control interfaces and no view screens. Only the commanders of a ship may see beyond its confines. Well, we're ready to talk to Wayun, who has some high praise for us.
I see that you are ready for the next stage in our little task. You've performed adequately so far, but the Dominion's records on you are quite extensive, and you have a bit of a reputation among those of us who pay attention to such things. Let's hope you live up to it this time.
You know, it's statements like that make me wonder how many spies the Dominion have. Well, I'll try not to disappoint.
Of course. I'd expect no less, especially after our recent adventures. That being said, neither of us should have much to do here today. The Founder will handle the necessary details of Karakan's surrender. This may be over in a matter of moments.
If the two of you are quite finished, the sooner this nonsense is dealt with, the sooner I can return to the Great Link and put decades of poor memories behind me. Hail the station. Inform Loris and Karakan that I would have words with them.
At once, Founder. If you would care to do the honors.
Sure thing. I just pushed this button, yeah? No, that says please do not push this button again. This one. Yes.
Vessel 6474, you are not part of our task group. We are not interested in anything. Founder! Please forgive my impudence. How may I serve?
You will stand down at once, Loris. Prepare your Jem'Hadar for transit. We are all going home. Transport aboard this vessel immediately.
Damn, that was quick.
Loris, signal your first to stand down.
Karukan, this is Loris. The Founder orders you to stand down and prepare for transport.
The Founders have turned their backs upon us. We are denied their glory. The only glory for us now is death in battle. We are already dead. We may reclaim our honor at the price of our lives.
Karukan, you must obey! You must! Ugh! He's closed the channel!
So much for a simple resolution to this mess.
We'll see. Look, I'm going to hail the fleet, see if there's anything we can do.
Defiant here. I hope you're not calling to explain that there's a problem.
There's a problem. Karakan refuses to surrender.
The fleet is nearly there, and we're going to have a lot of casualties if we have to fight the Jem'Hadar. You need to find a way to defuse this situation.
Well, Karakan is the only issue here. If we remove him, resistance may collapse.
There's no way to beam aboard or dock without being intercepted.
Well, we've got the station security codes. It might be possible to board via spacewalking across the hull.
I don't see any other options at this point. Good luck, and may the prophets watch over you.
I've reviewed your file, and I believe you are best suited to this task. Your familiarity with Deep Space Nine will be an advantage. You will use one of our environmental suits. It should sustain you long enough to successfully infiltrate the station.
A Federation captain working for the Dominion. Should I say victory is life next?
Clever. Predictable, but clever. Time is a factor, Solid. You'll find what you need in the airlock. I will have this vessel brought as close as possible to the station while you prepare. When you have familiarized yourself with the suit, signal that you are ready to leave the airlock.
So, Karagan has denied to leave the station. I doubt he'll actively engage in combat against the Founder's ship, but now he hopes to go down in a blaze of glory when the Federation fleet arrives. The thing is, there are civilians still on that station too. So we grab our spacesuit and gear up, readying ourselves to be jettisoned into the cold, empty, practically infinite vacuum of deadly space. Captain Kurland contacts us once we're hull side. He's going to contact us infrequently and in quick transmitted bursts so as to minimise our chances of detection. His complete knowledge of DS9 will help us to progress across the hull. The first suggestion he has is to activate the navigation buoys across the hull that are reserved for just such spacewalks, for repairs and the like. So we're currently on the upper side of the outermost docking ring. Beneath our feet are hangars, corridors and airlocks for the myriad of starships that would normally be coming and going. The rumble of the station is reverberating through our feet, and the sounds of the suit are the only noises we can hear. Good Jesus! Our magnetised boots will keep us planted to the hull, but for the sake of expediency, we can choose to disengage them and apply the RCS thrusters on the suit to fly from post to post. Apparently the flashing waypoints are hardpoint locks that allow for this sort of manoeuvre with minimal risk, as opposed to a normal spacewalk, where if we came in too fast, we'd risk bouncing off the hull entirely and drifting away forever until we ran out of oxygen. Alone, in the depths of space. Suddenly Kurland tells us to halt and lets us know that if we go any further, external sensors will pick us up. He points out the external maintenance hatch on our left and below us. Nearby to that is a panel that will allow us to tap in and mask our approach while keeping the maintenance pylons active. This hatch would probably be the routine way of accessing DS9's outer ring hull, as opposed to jumping from another starship. In order to access it, we'll have to input symbols in a memory game from other panels about the area. It takes a while, especially in 0G. With that done, I risk a quick thruster burst to the next pylon, and I'm very relieved to see that it works. Oh, that almost crashed on me. What the hell just happened? Did the Klingons not get the message to wait? Was that just an early bird? Well, I'm not sure if that's the bird of prey's impulse engines still firing or a plasma leak, but we cannot step in front of that, so we're going to have to go around. Oh, no doubt about it, that was a Burrell class bird of prey on the smaller side. I'd like to search for survivors, but we don't have the time, and I can't risk being discovered. Whew, I wonder how hot that is. Thankfully, spacesuits are radiation shielded, but that does look really hot. It's like standing next to a waterfall, if the waterfall was actually made from burning plasma.
Curlin here.
What do you mean, jump? Okay, fine, I'll jump. Well,
Come in. Are you there? Are you all right?
Oh. Oh. Ow. What?
This is Curlin.
Ow. Wait, how much time? Where? How'd I get on the ground? I think I'm okay, Captain Kurland. I think the suit's emergency systems brought me back down. We continue on with the mission. Clearly we weren't unconscious for long because no one has investigated the wreck yet, and I'm not comatose. Although it looks like the damage has dislodged something further down one of DS9's spoke-like arms, and we have an uncontained energy discharge. That is very annoying because we need to go that way. Well, we need to make up for lost time, so I'm going to be relying on the maintenance beacons for guidance now as we jump off and drift from one elevated position to the next. We're going to have to time our jumps to coincide with the power shut-off to make it through unscathed. Well, that's just peachy. One of the Jem'Hadar ships is investigating the Klingon crash, and if they perform a full sensor scan, they'll no doubt detect me, and then I'm buggered. Kurland guides us to an overhanging alcove, which is strangely comforting, where we can access an isolinear chip system. By manipulating the circuitry here, basically an infuriating minigame that I suck at, we trigger the station's defences and DS9 fires at the Jem'Hadar ship. That's going to look suspicious to whoever is in ops, but it's better than confirming our presence.
This is Curlin.
We continue onwards to the second of DS9's rings, the Habitat Ring, which contains living quarters and several landing pads. From here we need to make the awkward manoeuvre to mount the top of this ring to continue, and I guess we could magnetise up the side in theory, but the game's engine doesn't allow for that, plus flying is quicker and I'm getting the hang of it. Cresting the rise, Ops and the promenade come into view. Away from the outer ring it's suddenly quieter. Maybe the Habitat Ring has more acute inertial dampeners for vibrations that make for a quieter station. Considering this is where people live and sleep, it would make sense. From here we make a daring jump straight to the promenade section. It's probably not as risky as it seems, but nonetheless it's a nerve-wracking distance.
Curlin here. Come in.
We come to a halt atop the promenade, directly under DS9's prominent deflector shield emitters. These devices are coupled with tractor beam arrays to protect the station not only from battle, but general space debris. And there's a good chance that had we not been masked from the ship's sensors, we'd have been deflected too. Kurland points out that there is a security field around Ops, meaning that entry from outside is impossible. This is as far as our spacewalk can take us. Accessing a promenade maintenance panel, we unlock the outer hatch and let ourselves back into the station's interior. Once inside, Kurland points us towards Ops via the turbo lifts. Unfortunately, there's little we can do now to avoid detection in some instances. We have discretion on our side, so we'll have to make this quick, and with the station's commander on comms we do have an edge, but it's only us here, and we're going to have to make it work. First, let's get changed out of this spacesuit. We first take down these 3 Jem'Hadar. It seems that 2 were conducting maintenance of some form while another oversaw them. Well, we put an end to that. However, our firefight has drawn some more attention and another patrol is waiting outside. With the liberal application of some photon grenades, we clear them out quickly enough, and so far no alarms, which is good, but there are plenty of patrols to try and avoid. It looks like the damage from the initial attack has yet to be repaired. Part of the promenade is still collapsed, and there's a gaping hole to space protected by a containment field on the upper level. Throughout this section we do have some options to make our job easier, and I think I found them all, but let me know if you're aware of any more. For a start, we allow this patrol to pass quietly. Damn, this turbo lift's out of order. Right, we carry on to the next. The next 2 patrols we do have to engage, and I'm wary of drawing the aggro of the ones we've already slipped by, so perhaps it would have been more ideal to take them out as we went. The latter of these 2 was standing near some explosive barrels that would have made the fight a lot easier, but we drew them too far from the explosives' range. Never mind, I'm sure I can find a use for them later. Another patrol de-shrouds and ambushes me, and I fall back to a store to take cover. Doing so buys me some time, and we can take them out in a more controlled fashion. Falling back even further, they pursue, and I said I'd find a use for them. Further ahead, we take advantage of the station's deteriorated state to rig an overload in a conduit ahead. Doing so leads to some rather grisly, fiery death. In an alcove further on we find some mining charges. Nice, they'll be useful in a minute or so. We then double back to the only working turbolift on this level, which takes us to the upper promenade. From here we simply use our security clearance to lower the containment field and blow the Jem'Hadar into space. There are a couple who survived and protested at their comrades' new living conditions, but on the plus side they won't be living in them for very long, and neither will these guys. Containment restored, there's one final group guarding the ops turbolift. We engage them and manage to take them out, but now there's no way that Karakan does not know we're coming for him now, which we can also use to our advantage.
As soon as the lift arrives, fire!
Instead of the lift, we take the Jeffries tube to the commander's office and plant those charges we found earlier. Now instead of a full wing of guards, we just have Karakan and one other to deal with. Drawing the Jem'Hadar into the office, quickly the scales are balanced and it's just me and the rogue Jem'Hadar commander. He attempts to shroud, but I've got eyes on him and I'm not letting up, and it soon becomes clear that his tricks won't help. Now we just need to keep away from him and fire until he falls. Unfortunately, he makes an emergency beam out.
Your ships may be arriving, but you must still face my warriors in cold space. We shall settle this among the stars.
You know, for a Jem'Hadar that's obsessed with honour and battle, he's run away from us twice now. The Daring and the rest of the fleet have warped in and we're able to return to the ship. I'm guessing we disabled the security field. The minute we arrive, the skies are already ablaze with energy. Beams of Polaron, Phaser and Disruptor fly about the station as Klingon Federation and Dominion forces clash around Deep Space Nine. Is this a case of history repeating itself, or just a resurgence? Then an unexpected ally joins the fray.
Looks like I'm following your lead again. Take the point, Captain. The Enterprise is here to back you up.
I will be victorious. I will reclaim my life.
Captain Sean has arrived, the newly appointed captain of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701F Odyssey-class starship, of which the Daring here is a early draft, let's say. It seems that this fleet may in fact be bolstered by reinforcements from Earth, including the new flagship. The battle now rages in earnest. Our attack on Karakan seems to have failed, but it accomplishes one thing. We secured ops, so the station's defences cannot be turned on the Federation fleet, severely reducing the loss in life. These ships seem fresh and ready, and are probably not just the fleet that originally pursued Karakan across the quadrant, although the Defiant is here too. The Daring is taking a beating, so we form up alongside the Enterprise to wail on its target for a while, before breaking off again to engage weakened Dominion vessels. During the fight we take a sizable blast and it looks like our deflector dish has been burnt out. I think some time in a space dock may be needed after this. Then again, the rest of the fleet isn't looking much better. These Dominion vessels may be old, but they still seem to pack a punch. Soon though, it's just Karakan's ship that remains, a fearsome dreadnought. Well, I guess that's that. For Karakan and many other Jem'Hadar, they are dead the minute they enter battle. Only through victory do they live again. So he was dead the minute he was rejected by his god and had nothing left to lose. Kurland laments the lack of a peaceful outcome. Nevertheless, with Karakan gone, the rest of the Jem'Hadar should fall in line. He is returning to DS9 and requests our presence. Wow, you guys really did tidy up quickly. There's also an open channel to Loris.
I'm picking up your signal clearly. The Dominion repeaters on this side of the wormhole are functioning normally. The Founder is well and will rejoin the Great Link soon. She offers her gratitude for your assistance. I don't know what the future will hold for me, but at least I have a future now. It is disconcerting to lose decades of time. But the Founders are wise. I am sure they will find a new place for me.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm not sure how to say this, so I'll simply say thank you. This series of events was entirely unexpected, but we survived. Not only that, but we're home now. All this is thanks in no small part to your efforts. If we meet again, I will not forget.
Well, that'll be good.
Oh, and Wei Yun says hello. Actually, he's still sulking. But it's more amusing for me if I tell him that I expressed warm gratitude and fawning sycophancy on his behalf. Goodbye.
Well, even though she lost her lives of most of her Jem'Hadar, at least she got her Founder back. We can also talk to Captain Sean.
I've been offered a great opportunity. Commanding the Enterprise is an honor, one I never thought would be mine. Still, the Belfast was a good ship, and she will be missed. I won't forget your part in saving her crew. Many of them will be joining me on the Enterprise. I am forever in your debt. I'm not much for goodbyes, and the Enterprise will likely be at the frontier of Federation space. There's no telling when we'll meet again. I'm sure we will, though.
Oh, I'll make a point of it, Captain. Until then, represent us well out there. With those two addressed, we turn to Captain Kurland. Look, I'm glad Loris 3 was able to return, but many more Jem'Hadar were killed needlessly, and she doesn't care for them, only that the Vorta got their Founder back. As for Captain Sean, I'm sure he'll be fine. And it does good for Starfleet morale to have another Enterprise out there again. Kurland thanks us for our part and notes that we did everything we could to arrive at a peaceful solution, even though it failed. At least we tried. He invites us for Raktajino sometime and wishes us well, citing a prophet's blessing, but then thinks about how dangerous the attention from higher powers can actually be. Ominous. So we leave him to his thoughts and open a line to Commander Achebe. She has much the same sentiments and sets about filing her reports, the Federation already seizing the opportunity to try again to open a dialogue with the actual Dominion. It's a strange thing. This encounter has shown how dangerous the Dominion could be to Starfleet still, and the Federation as a whole, but ever since the end of the war, decades ago, the Dominion actually have abided by the terms of the Treaty of Bajor. Occasional science teams have crossed the wormhole in both directions and under intense scrutiny, but no military action has ensued. Even at the height of the Klingon War of 2405, the Dominion withheld from attacking. During the past year of skirmish, when the Federation was occupied, the Dominion never broke the peace. Clearly, they have spies in our space, and I'd be shocked if they didn't, honestly, but they've done their part to uphold their pledge. Still, they're as aloof and as self-interested as ever, but it seems maybe Odo's influence has softened them somewhat. Let's hope it can do the same for the female shapeshifter. Despite being aloof at her predicament, she seemed genuinely gratified to be free and referred to her imprisonment as decades of bad experiences, so clearly she longs to be home. Let's just hope that this doesn't evolve into a grudge. Thanks for watching this recap of the second wave of the Lost 2400. This arc was originally tied up with the Cardassian struggle, but I think works much better as its own mini-stories. There's one more brief story arc to address that's meant to take place before the Iconian War, so I'll be trying to wrap that up next, but I don't think it's as long from what I remember. So until then, thank you for watching the ever-evolving narrative of Star Trek Online, and I hope that you'll join me again for the next part as life returns to normal on DS9 and we investigate a mystery in the Donatu sector. Thanks again for watching. I've been Rick, and until next time, goodbye. I didn't get my shore leave.